Hey guys, me again. Something I meant to expand on in the last video was this topic of aphasia. I'll do my best to describe to you as accurately as possible about what my experience was of it. I could have been, the first 6 months or so, I actually didn't really go out that much. It's hard to remember exactly what happened because of the memory impairment. But once I did, so I didn't go out much into, if you like, public. Partly, that's another thing to bear in mind as well. Partly to, because there can be an experience of significant loss of confidence because your memory's impaired, you can't concentrate, you don't walk like you used to walk. So it can impact your confidence. So I was focusing in the sense of keeping on the healing kind of track. Although that may have been the right decision, might not have been, because your healing isn't just assisted by being alone. But there's a tendency just out of your comfort zone is challenged and so on and so forth. So this aphasia is when you're speaking to somebody, you're doing your best to communicate something to somebody. And when I got back into the swing of being a little bit more social, shall we say, aphasia is something where you're talking about a subject, and all of a sudden it's a bizarre thing. You're talking, and then bang. What the thing that you're thinking about just exits your mind. You lose track of what it is you were doing your best to speak about. And it can be, in hindsight, being such a wonderful thing that it is, it's potentially hilarious. So there's another great attitude to adopt or as best you can, is with regard to anything that might be frustrating for you, laugh about it. Rather than, I had the propensity and tendency and habit of, if something I didn't like was occurring, for example, you haven't met him yet, he's asleep, but I've got right next to me, I've got my beloved little friend Murphy. It's easier to talk about him when he's asleep. Otherwise he can, if he's too excited, he just goes haywire. You'll meet him eventually, I'm sure. It's virtually unavoidable. But anyway, the other thing to bear in mind is, rather than getting frustrated by something like a little puppy, he's not a puppy now, but when they don't tell you, or they don't do what you would like them to do, like stay still, or stay out from under your feet, or stay out of the kitchen when it's not an appropriate time to be in the kitchen. I have to admit, I used to be the type of person to be like, effing this, effing that, and getting a little bit angry with this frustration. Whereas the thing that I've learned to change my way of dealing with that is either, well, that is not appropriate for that one, sorry, it is just laugh at it. Whatever you used to find as frustrating or anger provoking, just laugh. And these are some useful tips that will be very beneficial for people outside of having had a stroke experience, or event, as I prefer to call it, when I can remember. And again, this is stuff that I'm still impacted to a certain degree. Like I say, it is improving, but it takes a while to make these progressive steps. And I'm still experiencing a lack of ease of flow of continuous thought at times, and well, fairly regularly, that I'm not going to belabor that. I'm always going to orient myself and orient yourselves to being as positive and laughing and seeing the craziness in this experience. The other thing I was going to, the other thing I want to remind myself of is remember to relax. Yeah, the thing that possibly contributed a lot to your initial event, as I perceive it, will have potentially had a lot to do with tension within you. Whether you recognize it or not, it is something that is highly likely. I often relate it to bearing in mind the international potential audience that might see this video. If I refer to something as a tea towel, those nice clean towels that you might use if you can be bothered to dry your dishes once you've washed them. In the UK, we often call them tea towels, or a dishcloth, an actual cloth that you may use in the rubbing and wiping of your dishes when you're immersing them in water, adding soap and all the rest of it. If you think about how you squeeze out the water from a dishcloth and you're applying tension to that to squeeze out the water, after a considerable number of times that you can squeeze or wring out that dishcloth, the fibers in that dishcloth will start to tear, fray, and it slowly but surely falls apart. That is how I picture in my mind tension in the body. And when that continues, it can cause issues, and it could possibly lead to experiencing a stroke. So do what you can, whatever works for you, to practice and repeat regularly and persist with it and be positive about it, because your life has changed temporarily. How much of your life it will continue to have been changed is up to you. You have this is the other exciting thing. You have the opportunity, to a degree, to redesign who you are. And that can be exciting. Stick to the positive stuff, I would encourage you. You could take this time that you are not feeling as well as you have done to change certain things about yourself. And it will be easier to do it if you're positive and looking at the funny side of life. If you can apply your sense of humor to serious situations in the future, you'll find that life is a lot less negative, impactful, soul-destroying, or whatever, however it is you have perceived it in the past. You can adjust some of your ways of being to make life a lot better. So, and also, in the previous video, I mentioned rest when you need to rest. One of the things I had to handle as best I could was, and I'll position it in this way, is learn to let go of guilt or any negative feelings. I'll do my best to cover feelings and the importance of feeling in future videos as well. Make a note before I forget, otherwise I will. That's it. But go back to the aphasia, because this is what happens. This is partly kind of like an old feeling of aphasia. This is what it does. You're talking about something and then something else pops into your mind and you get distracted. by this new thought, and you can just totally forget, or it just drops away the way I used to experience it. Whatever you're thinking about before can just totally drop away. And this is what aphasia is. It's this reduced ability to maintain your focus, even when you're thinking about something you're talking about. You're so preoccupied with the way you're talking about it, possibly, that you forget what you're actually trying to say. And that can be potentially, doesn't have to be, but that can be potentially quite frustrating. So I think that was more or less. Oh, another very useful thing that I found, or another two things actually, is allow yourself to become aware of what you are resisting, what you are resistant in thinking, or resistant in the way of speaking, that may otherwise be easier just to let it go, because you will be investing, and I use that word purposefully, investing your energy in whatever it is you are doing, speaking about, thinking of, or contemplating, is however you perceive it. Whatever you are thinking about on a, if you like, the mental level, you invest your energy. If you're investing your energy into something that is not worthwhile, you can become aware of it and stop investing your energy in it. You have a limited amount of energy. What else could you invest your energy in that would be more beneficial to you? There's a great opportunity here. And again, as with anything else, it's up to you to make the most of it. Oh, and the other good technique that you can employ is to consider, when you're in a less than desirable situation, like prime example is going through this experience of a stroke. I'm using that word way too much, but it's the only thing to identify with, so you can acknowledge what I'm referring to sometimes. But think about what is good about this situation that I'm currently interpreting as less than good, challenging, undesirable. What is good, or even funny? What could be might be a good opening to get into this way of thinking. What could be, use it as a bizarre thought experiment. What could be good about this situation that I haven't previously considered? Go wild, think about it. Might come up with some wacky ideas. The point is to help orient your way of thinking to a more positive way of seeing things and considering things. I think that's it for now. That'll do. That'll keep you busy. And don't try and do all this stuff all at once. It's not possible. Take your time, whatever time you've been given, in a way, to practice these things. Positivity, persistence, perseverance. Is it perseverance, or I can't remember now. All this stuff. Focus on the positive as much as you can. It will pay dividends in the long run. Love to everybody. Take care. Have a good evening, morning, lunch, wherever you are. All right. See you soon. Bye for now.